Welcome to College Admissions Criteria Part 2. In this session, we'll look at an example of how the college admissions criteria is applied to a college applicant. Part 1, we went over key terms. So if you haven't viewed Part 1 yet, you'll want to do that before we look at Part 2. Let's take a look at an example. Okay, so we're going to look at an example from an applicant to UCSD in the fall of 2007. So I know that was a while ago, but the same basic principles apply. In 2007, UCs did a more quantitative application, which means they assigned a certain amount of points to a certain amount of things. So for example, if you had 300 hours of community service, you got 300 points on your application. Now they do it a little bit more holistically. Now you may have 300 hours of community service on your application, but all those hours are from random beach cleanups and races. While another student might also have 300 hours of community service, all dedicated to one cause, and that student took on an increasingly difficult or leadership dependent role in that one cause for their community service. In that case, the second candidate is going to get in because now the UCs use a more qualitative approach, meaning the quality of what you do matters more than the quantity of what you do. That said, they're still looking for the same factors. So let's take a look at what it looked like in 2007 to get an idea. So in 2007, 45,000 applicants applied to UCSD. That number has almost doubled since 2007. Of those 45,000-ish students, roughly 19,000 students were accepted. That number has actually gone down since that time. So it means it's more difficult today. So of those 19,000-ish students accepted, 4,408 students were admitted. What that means is that some of these students went to different schools and 4,408 students decided to go to UCSD. Every year, colleges make that calculation based on past trends. That's why when you apply early or demonstrate that you're clearly interested in a school, most private schools give you demonstrated interest points because they want students who, if accepted, will definitely go there. So that year, the minimum comprehensive review, CR, same thing as a comprehensive index, that was needed was 7,535 points. So keep track of that number because it's going to make a difference in the examples that we look at. So let's look at this first example. Case 1. This student was not admitted. That's what non-admit means. So let's look at their academic index, the stuff that's easy to quantify. This student had a 4.8 GPA. Oh, sorry, my bad. A 4.08 GPA. Pretty darn good. And some impressive SAT scores. This breaks it down by section. So they had a great critical reading score. Remember, it's out of 800. Pretty good at math, pretty good at writing. And they had some pretty darn good ACT scores as well. 27 out of 32, on down the line. Looks like they also took some subject tests, so literature and math too. Perhaps their major required it. Overall, their academic index score was 6,554 points. Remember, they need a 7,535 point total to get in. So they're well on their way just with their academic index. Let's take a look at what went wrong. This student ended up with 7,504 points. Oh, so close, just 31 points away from UCSD. So let's take a look at it. First thing they did not get points for was low parent income. That's something that colleges are still looking for because they want to admit more schools from impoverished areas with the goal of equalizing everyone's chance at a college education. You can't control your parents' income, and neither could this student, so they got 0 points for that. Another thing that this student did get points for was first generation college. You count as first generation college if your parents did not go to college and complete their degree. That's important. So if they did a little bit of college, that doesn't count. You can mark first generation. Or if they went to college outside of the United States and completed their degree, that also counts as first generation, and you can mark that on your application. So good job to this person. Educational environment. This person did not do the third essay that is marked as optional. Nothing is optional on college applications. The third optional quote-unquote essay asks about your educational environment and how it prepared you for college. The student could have written about Westview's 4x4 schedule, the 90-minute class period, increased rigor, AP classes, any number of things that Westview does to make sure that you're ready for college. This person also missed out on points for leadership. Maybe they have no leadership and all they do is follow other people around, but I really doubt it. Everybody leads in some way or another in their daily life, but this person did not think about how they might reflect that on their application and got 0 points. Now what they did do is a lot of community service. So 300 points for that, good job. Darn it, no points for special talents, achievements, or awards. You might be thinking to yourself, well, dang, I don't have any special talents either. Everyone has a special talent. You have to think about how you want to present that on your application. One year I had a kid write about learning to juggle with his twin brother. That's a talent. They want kids that can pursue an interest. One year I had a girl write about how she's always perpetually kind and that she developed that within her friend group and actually ended up preventing a friend from committing suicide. That's a talent. We need more kind people in the world. So start thinking introspectively of what might count and know the most improved that you got in 8th grade does not count as an award. Same thing with special circumstances. This person got 0 points. Probably didn't think through what personal challenges they do have in their life. Maybe it's not obvious, but maybe there's something that they've taken on that was especially difficult for them. Think about your own life. Based on the resources you have, are you challenging yourself? Educational academic programs clearly was not in AVID. AVID gets you points for educational academic prep programs, especially if you're in it for 3 or more years, which as sophomores, you will be. ELC not applicable here. Total A through G and numbers of honors courses 2, so that means that they didn't totally protect their GPA. So let's look at somebody who did get in. Okay, this person got in, but just barely, with a 3.64. They had a lower academic index score with 6,274 points. Remember, our not admit had 6,554 points. So this person actually started at a disadvantage, but ended up with 7,567 points, well over the 7,535 points needed to get in. Okay, they met requirements. This person, not from a low-income household, can't control that. Not first-generation college, can't control that. Ooh, looks like they didn't write that last essay either. Hey, 300 points for leadership in Boy Scouts. Great job. Hey, 150 points for community service with 100 hours. By the way, 100 hours is the benchmark. You want 100 hours total before you leave high school. AVID has you covered on that one. Special talents, photography. I happen to actually know this kid, and he is not a good photographer. But he took photo and loved how it gave him a way to express himself. That's what he wrote his essay about. So even though he's not especially talented at photography, he got points for the interest and intellectual curiosity for taking it on as a medium to express himself. Special circumstances, a little bit of a tough home life, but this guy took on mentoring other Boy Scouts as a challenge because it was so difficult for him to function in larger groups. Academic education programs, he wished he was an avid ELC, no. Holy guacamole, number of honors, and the APs. Remember, each quarter counts as a number. This kid did not protect his GPA by taking easy A courses. He challenged himself, lower GPA, but more points for rigor. And guess what? He got in. So the message here is pay attention to your comprehensive index. If GPA and SAT scores are not your strong suit, don't worry, that's totally normal. Play to your strengths. Is it commitment? Is it passion, leadership, and so on? Think about also how you can demonstrate these qualities on your college application. That's the end. Thanks, guys.